It's Sunday morning, and every decent man and woman is listening to Test Miles with Nick Miles on FM News 101 KXL. Buckle in.
It's Sunday morning, time to talk cars for the next 60 minutes on your weekly automotive experience. I'm Nick Miles. You're listening to America's Automotive Radio Show. This is Test Miles, locally created, nationally celebrated this morning. Our Test Miles team includes myself and Sean Walker. Sean, a good week so far into 2015?
I'm enjoying it, yes. We've been on now for a year. This is our second show of being on for a full year.
Right.
Who thought we'd be on this long?
So we've had 54 shows now so far, and
Wow.
Nobody's kicked us off the air.
That's amazing.
All right, let's talk a little bit about what we've been driving this week. I have been fortunate enough to be driving something that we named as our car of the year in last week's show, which is the 2015 Hyundai Genesis sedan. Now, this is well priced, and I have said and been quite open about this when we've done our TV segments. The reason that we chose this is very simple. Purely because it's the best car that Hyundai have ever made. Starting price of $40,450. It comes well equipped with everything, including a great miles per gallon of 29 on the highway. This sedan has an 8-speed shiftable automatic transmission. It has a 5-year, 60,000-mile warranty and is one of the only full-size rear-wheel drive vehicles in America. The Genesis has always offered plenty of features and a very agreeable price, but this year's redesign for 2015 has all that and a quality interior and some of the refinements that may have been missing in the last generation of the vehicle. It's definitely a top pick for luxury sedans. Exceptional value, smooth ride, it's roomy, it's high quality interior, and excellent crash test scores, and of course a long warranty coverage. I will say that after driving this vehicle multiple times this year, I'm still in love with it. The only other thing that I have found that's difficult with the vehicle is that the heating controls, the HVAC controls, and the stereo controls are reversed. So normally you would have your stereo controls on the upper side of the dash, where you'd have your volume closest to the driver, and then your radio tuning button across the way from the digits. And then below that, you'd have your HVAC controls. In the Genesis, they're reversed, so you have your heating controls above your stereo controls. And I often reach to tune the radio or to change the volume in the radio and actually end up turning the heat to about 85 degrees in the vehicle. So that's one of the things that I find a little bit frustrating in the vehicle is the fact that they are reversed. However, it's a lot simpler, it's a lot easier to deal with than a lot of the controls in the competitors. You definitely find that once you get into using all of the buttons, it's easy because they label the buttons very simply. You want radio, you can hit radio. You want navigation, you can hit navigation. I find a lot of the modern cars, especially those that use big heads-up displays, it's a lot harder because you have to go through several menus to actually find what you're looking for on the screen. An exception to that rule is all of the Chrysler family of vehicles that actually have all of the buttons constantly highlit on the bottom of the navigation or infotainment screen, and so you always have those buttons available to you. But I like to, if I'm looking for radio or phone setup or navigation, I like to have a button or something I can see that I can hit rather than go through several menus. A criminal in that department to me has always been the GM family of vehicles because you have to hit home and have all of those buttons come up and then choose what you want. They're not always displayed.
You know, after driving, and I love the Genesis, and it's one of my picks for Car of the Year as well, but after driving your Genesis and being back east about a month ago driving a fully loaded Genesis, the only downfall I find with driving the one that you were driving is that it didn't have the beautiful heads-up display in the window that the one I did, which is, I mean, it's about 12 inches wide and literally gives you everything from your speed to navigation to radio sets. This car is so comfortable and rides so nicely that without the heads-up display, you're constantly looking down because you'll be like, I had the problem of just cruising down the highway in it, and I didn't realize I was doing 80, 90 because it just felt like I was just standing still. It rides so nicely and drives so fantastic that you don't realize you're above speed. So that's my only downfall. It's like it has to have the heads-up display.
Now, one of the things that you bring up an interesting point, and sort of a subtopic to that is one of the things that's been changing in vehicles is the fact that we've been seeing smaller engines occur. Ford now putting EcoBoost engines in their Mustang and their F-150. So the engines are actually getting smaller, but they're also remaining as powerful. So the Genesis doesn't have a V8 in it, has a V6 in this time, but that's plenty of power for me.
But it does come with a V8 that's like 420 horsepower. And I'm always a guy that loves the bigger horsepower, and this is the first car that I'd actually prefer the 6-cylinder. It feels like it's well over 400 horsepower, even though, it's a little over 300, but it's plenty of power. It moves.
It does, and I think I would probably have the V6 as a daily driver. That's one of the problems I had with driving the Mustang, the new 2015 Ford Mustang. You get into it, you drive the V6. I fell in love with the car. I really, really liked it. It was a good performance vehicle. You get into the V8 and you're like, why would I ever have the V6? Because the V8 is just so much more. Kind of the same with when you drive the Challenger or Charger from the Dodge, the Hellcat version. It has 707 horsepower. It's hard to step back to the 400-odd horsepower in the other vehicle.
Ford Racing's actually posting a bunch of stuff on Facebook that I've noticed where they want people to tune and the EcoBoost and try to get that EcoBoost up there in performance now and high power.
One of the things that Ford announced just before Christmas is they were starting a new division called Ford Performance, and all of their racing and all of their vehicles were coming into one house. So they would all be done, the STs, all of the different Ford racing vehicles, including things like the Raptor, would be coming under one roof, and it would all be put together by a single shop. And I like that idea, much the same as AMG have done that, or BMW's M's. So they're really putting those together and doing a great job of pulling everything in-house. And that involves new promotions and new collective thoughts from Ford. So a lot of guys getting into the high-performance ends. Anyway, I would tell you that this is definitely a winner for Car of the Year. We announced that it would be the Test Miles Car of the Year last week, and after driving it for a full week, in love with the vehicle, give it a solid 10 out of 10.
Awesome. I was driving the 2015 Acura TLX, and I actually fell in love with this vehicle. It's a nice little sedan, fully loaded. It just has everything you want. The only thing, like I talked about from the past show, Honda has their blind spot monitor. I wish this car had it. And being the brand of Honda, I figured, and Acura is being all about safety, it's just they should have this instead of just the little lights in the blind spot. That's the only down about it. Everything's all through the navigation, through the heated seats, the heating climate and everything, but it's easy to get through. Like, you push a button, it's all there. Everything's really sensible and easy to get to.
Now, of course, we should mention that the TLX is a culmination of the TSX and the TL. And what Acura did is they felt that they could combine the two models and come up with a much better model. The one thing I think is missing off this brand new TLX, when they showed it at Detroit, they had LED signal lights on the mirrors that went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, the lights as a signal, and it sort of went across the signal light. And they decided this was, again, didn't meet the law and was a little too complicated for the car, so they're missing that. And I was devastated because I thought that was the best part of the car.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, even the regular LEDs are just fantastic because you'll be driving down a dark road and it looks like you have your high beams on. And then you actually do turn your high beams on and you can see almost miles away.
Now, this has the dual-eyed headlights, right?
Yes.
Which is, the dual-eyed headlights is basically single LED lights that are used through kind of a jewel to project out onto the road, a very white light. And also, Elliot Shiner did the audio system in this. This is the guy that produced the Foo Fighters, and Steely Dan back in the day, and he produced the sound system in this vehicle, and it's absolutely outstanding, and we've chatted with him several times. He spent his years of studio production to actually make the interior sound of the car, absolutely perfect, including dampening and putting his sound system in there. The great part about that is he produced songs like Steely Dan, so he knows what they're supposed to sound like. So when he gets in the car, he can tune the sound system to sound like it was on the day he was in the recording studio.
Starting price $30,995 to get into one, and I'm going to give it a 9.5. And the only reason I'm not giving it the 10, like I said, it just needs that Honda blind spot monitor system, and it'd be perfect.
Coming up in the show, we'll find out for those who can't afford to get their cars serviced, a program which is going on in Salem where you can get a free service and safety check on your vehicle, and the Portland Auto Show just around the corner. We're going to get all the inside scoop from the guys who run the show. Jeff Fishback and Greg Remensberger will be here from the Metro Portland New Car Dealers Association to tell us all about this year's Portland Auto Show. That and more when Test Miles returns. I'm Nick Miles.
Throw it in neutral and coast in with testmiles.com.
Welcome back to Test Miles. Are you looking for some good family automotive entertainment? Tickets for the 2015 Portland International Auto Show are on sale. Just go to portlandautoshow.com to get yours. It happens February 5th through the 8th, and you can't get a better ticket price than you can get right now. If you wait right up until going to buy them at the door, it'll cost you just a little bit more. Here's a fun fact you can impress your friends with. The first car blinker was used on a Buick in 1938. It's just a shame that Buick drivers don't know how it works and never seem to use them. All right, Certified Automotive Repair in Salem has a very special day coming up. It's called Family Service Day. If you have a vehicle and you are unable to get it serviced due to financial restraints, or you have a family member or friend who has the same problem, then Certified Automotive Repair are doing Family Service Day on January the 17th at their Salem location. And on the phone is Ben and Brian from Certified Automotive Repair to tell us all about it.
Family Service Day is it's something that we do. We're going to be doing about 4 times a year, and it's basic services for families in need. And we've partnered up with Habitat for Humanity, and so we have some clients and some guests from Habitat for Humanity that are going to be here, and we've also opened it up to families that are just in need of some basic maintenances that can't afford to do those things on their own.
So how many cars do you get through in a weekend?
Well, we're doing it on Saturday, January 17th, and we're going to be trying to get about 15 cars through.
And there's no cost for anybody to do this because of your sponsors, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
So what are you actually going to do for somebody's car when they bring it in? Is it just a very basic look at the car, or is there actually physical work that takes place?
Well, Nick, when someone brings their car to us on Family Service Day, we start by bringing the vehicle in, giving it a safety inspection. All customers or people that come through for the service that day are going to receive a free oil change service. And then at that point, we'll look at their car. If it's in need of some safety items like maybe a serpentine belt that's going to break, or possibly in need of some brake work, something that we can resolve that day, we're going to go ahead and do those services for them at no cost.
Now, how did this begin, Brian? Because Family Service Day is something that started on the East Coast, and you discovered it on a trip and decided it would be a good thing to bring to the West Coast, right?
That's correct. It actually did start on the East Coast, and it started slowly migrating west, and there are some shops. A lot of them are mostly, like I said, on the East Coast, but there are some shops in Colorado, I believe, that have done some, and we're the first shop in Oregon to do this. We're hoping that a lot of shops in Oregon and our neighbors will pick this up and start doing it themselves, because there is a lot of need out there, and we recognize that, and we just like to be here and help.
Now, one of the things is, of course, it helps us all out, Family Service Day, because it makes sure that the vehicles on the road are safer for all of us, and we all share that road. And those people who can't afford to have maintenance done on their vehicle, this is sort of designed, A, as an introduction to you as a shop so they can learn a little bit more about you, but B, so they can actually make sure their car is well maintained. Have you found things on vehicles that come in that were desperately in need of attention where it wasn't safe to have them on the road?
Yes, absolutely, Nick. Just kind of as an example, our last Family Service Day, I had a gentleman come in that was in need of some tie rod ends that we're getting ready to break. We were able to replace both of those front tie rod ends for him and improve the safety and handling of the vehicle.
Now, if somebody has a vehicle or knows of somebody who can't actually afford to have their car serviced at this time and they want to send them down to your certified automotive repair shop in Salem, what's the best way for them to book one of the slots? And I should make this clear, we've talked about this in the past. To have your vehicle serviced, you cannot just show up. You have to call and make an appointment. So, Brian, what's the best way for somebody to get in contact with a shop and make sure that they reserve a position so they can get their vehicle serviced or one of their family members' vehicle serviced?
Right. So they just need to call our shop number, which is 503-399-2149. They can talk to either myself, Brian, or the manager, Ben, or our service advisor, Rich. And so one of us three will answer, and at that time we can get them scheduled. And I might want to just mention that there's only about, I think we have 5 spots reserved at the moment, 5 or 6. So I think we have, I want to say 9 or 10 available spots left at this time.
Now, when people come down, I know in the past you've sort of made it a bit of a family day. What happens? They come down at their given time, and everybody just sits around while the car's serviced. Is that how it works?
Yeah, we're planning on having some kind of activity for the kids that show up. Last time we had Home Depot come out and they had set up a workshop clinic for the kids and the families. So this time, being January, it'll probably be inside, and we're still kicking around a few things to have out ready for the kids and the families. But there'll be something ready here.
Excellent. Well, we're looking forward to it. And again, I want to thank you very much for the time spent and the donation towards the community in the whole of this part of Oregon. I know you take people from Portland, and of course you're based in Salem, so people in Salem will actually be able to come down and do it. And if you're from Portland, it's really important that you get and book that appointment as soon as possible. Ben, remind us of the phone number one more time that people need to call to reserve their spot to get their vehicle serviced.
Absolutely, Nick. The number here is 503-399-2149, or you can email us at service@carsalem.com.
All right, and the website again is carsalem.com. Just to remind everybody, if you know somebody or you cannot afford to have your vehicle serviced, Certified Automotive Repair is doing a family service day in which they'll do a basic service on your vehicle and a check. It's happening January 17th. You need to call the phone numbers to actually book your time. Otherwise, you may not be in luck when you arrive down there. Guys, I look forward to hearing all about it, and good luck with your family service day.
All right,
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
Coming up, the Portland Auto Show is back in town February 5th through the 8th. We'll have all the inside scoop of what cars you can see. We'll be talking to Jeff Fishback and Greg Remensberger from the Portland Auto Show, and they'll tell us what you can expect to see at this year's extravaganza. This is Tess Miles. Back in a moment. I'm Nick Miles.
It's Test Miles on FM News 101.
Welcome back to Test Miles Sunday morning, and we'd like you to follow us on Facebook. We will post every day an interesting fun fact. Here's your interesting fun fact for this show that you can impress your friends with. The largest consumer indoor event in Portland, Oregon just happens to be the Auto Show. And in studio with us again this week is Greg Remmensberger and Jeff Fishback to talk about the Portland Auto Show. Gentlemen, last year you had a sneak peek charity event that a lot of people got to see the cars ahead of time, got to drink, eat, and have a good time at the event. Are we going to do that again this year?
Yeah, we are really excited about building on what we established last year as a must-attend event. We had about 2,000 people there last year, and we raised $250,000 that we gave away to our 4 charities last year. This year, we're working with those same 4 charities, which is the Providence Medical Foundation, Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, the Boys and Girls Club, and Meals on Wheels. And in addition to that, we've added 2 new charities. The Victory Group, which is a new school that's being built in Wilsonville for autistic children. They've been working out of a church for the last 5 years and are doing some real groundbreaking efforts with autistic children and education. And then our final charity is the Oregon Alliance of Brain Injury, and we're very excited to have 2 new in. And our success of last year, the word of mouth that went out, the experience that everybody had being there, we think there's a good chance we could double our attendance this year.
So tell me how you get tickets, how much they cost, and what it gets you.
You can either go through one of the 6 charities' websites, or you can go through our website, which is portlandautoshow.com. And if you click on the charity preview link there, what you do is it's a $100 ticket, but you get a $100 tax receipt, and you can direct that full $100 to either any one of the 6 charities, or you can split it up any way you want to amongst those 6 charities, and they get the full contribution.
And last year, they received, the 4 charities from last year, obviously received quite a bit of injection of cash. Have you seen that go to work in the community?
Yeah, boy, I tell you, you talk to the people at Meals on Wheels and what they're able to provide to, elderly and people that are unable to get out and get food, what they deliver to their households. It just was life-changing for them.
I would actually pay for someone to bring me lunch every day. I mean,
Did you do that already?
No, I'm just saying, I'm there, I'm sitting in my studio working, and there has to be a consumer Meals for Wheels program in which I'd pay for somebody else's lunch at the same time as they would get to bring me lunch. Meals on Wheels seems like a perfect charity, too, because it uses cars to bring help to people who can't get meals.
Yeah, it's a nice alliance with us. The Providence Medical Foundation, we've honed in on a housing development that they're doing for the families of people that are going through their cancer treatment center. And if you've got somebody that's going through that type of a program, you're on site at the hospital 24/7 for days, weeks, months at a time, and to have an area where they can go back and relax a little bit, do some laundry, have a place that they can sleep, cook themselves a meal and so forth is really, really paramount to their ability to help those that are going through the treatment at the time. So we earmarked our money last year as well as this year specifically for that program, and it's very exciting to see the construction is underway.
One of the things that a lot of people don't think about is that as the society changes, we very rarely live in the same town as our parents anymore. I mean, a lot of people that I know live in different towns than their parents. And so you have families who live in different cities now as transportation has become much easier. If you have a sick or loved one in another city, where do you stay when you go? So those people that have maybe a parent or a child in Portland that have to come and take care of them, this gives them the ability to do that, right?
That's right. And it's as they have one of the largest cancer treatment centers in the nation, and what they're doing is groundbreaking stuff, and to be able to have this type of a support system to go hand in hand with that is pretty incredible.
And then the other groups, like the Boys and Girls Club in town are also doing amazing services for their community, and they benefit out of this. So let's talk a little bit about the event. It happens on the Wednesday night before the auto show opens, and I have never been in there as let's say a journalist. I've always been in there as a consumer, and as a consumer you go in and honestly you're treated like royalty. First of all, the first thing I noticed is, being a consumer of things, there is food and drink islands as far as the eye can see. And for somebody like me who likes a little bit to eat and likes a little bit to drink and likes cars, car, drink, car, food, car, drink. It's like a paradise, right?
It really is a fun event, and yep, you are absolutely correct. We have food stations throughout the floor of the main floor, but also up in the two ballrooms where we have the luxury lofts. And the full run of show is open, so you get a chance to go in and see the cars without the crowds, have something nice to eat, have a little cocktail along the way, and that's all included in your $100 ticket. You know, most people, if you went out to dinner and had a couple bottles of wine and a nice dinner, you would spend $100.
Right.
But this, you're helping a local charity, and you're getting a tax receipt at the end of the year as well, too. So it's a pretty neat deal.
Now, I need to ask you a logistic question here. When you look at the menu of food you're going to serve, do you consider finger foods and even I can't imagine chicken wings and nice leather seats of cars going together very well. There's got to be a thought pattern that goes on here. Wait a second, we can't be giving people like fire chicken rings and then they'll be getting in a car and then we'll have to have the leather re-cleaned in every car.
That's true, but at the same time, it has to be something that you can pick up and eat on the run because you are. Again, walking the floor of the auto show. So we've got everything from carving stations to sushi stations to dim sum, and there's a little bit of everything to cross just about every palate.
Sushi is almost the perfect food for that because it's like a handful, a bite, a handful, and it's not particularly messy to eat. I mean, you might have to get some odd fish roe out between the Jaguar seats, but I mean, it's unlikely that you do that.
You know, it's funny, we had one of the manufacturers call back after last year's event and ask if we could put the sushi station in their display because it was so popular.
That's it. Now you have to auction off the food station.
That's right.
as well it goes. Let's talk about some of the brands we're going to see. And also I want to talk a little bit about the ride and drive segment. Let's get into the ride and drive first, Jeff. This is something that was only really seen at specialist auto shows that was specific ride and drives. You've now introduced it as part of a major show here in Portland. So when you come to the show, you don't only get to touch, feel, smell, you actually get to ride in some of these cars.
You know, you do. You get a chance to drive them. And the phrase of ride and drives, I know that's somewhat of a unique phrase. It's just around the auto shows. It really is a test drive. And it's an opportunity to experience the cars like you're supposed to, behind the wheel.
Now, is everything up for ride and drive? Because there's a couple of Bentleys I've been looking at recently.
Well, I would love to say that we have every manufacturer lined up for a ride and drive, but we are limited on space, and we do want to make those ride and drive events very special for those manufacturers. And this year, we're very proud to say that we've got a new player to the mix. It's Mazda. Mazda, and actually, they're bringing a full compilation of vehicles as well. And we have Chrysler. Chrysler is expanding theirs as well. Last year, it was just Jeep. This year, it's actually every brand, they have.
Oh.
So it's got all five.
The thing I love about this, and let's be honest, a lot of people who come to the auto show come because not only they love cars, but they're considering a new car in their future, and this is part of the beauty to see them all in one giant place together. But the other thing that's super popular about this is with the ride and drives, if you're cross-shopping 2 or 3 brands and they're all on ride and drives, where else, apart from traveling around to different dealers, you can get it done in one day, and then you can make your choice, right, to buy a new car.
You know, when we look at who comes to the show, of course, we always get the car enthusiasts because, hey, car enthusiasts, and we've got them all there. But it also, the second largest group of people that are coming are the people that are looking to buy in the next year to 2 years. And it's to compare. You know, you do all your research online. You know about what your car is worth that you're going to trade in. You know about what you want. But this is an opportunity to come down and compare one against the other and get behind the wheel where you have a product specialist that's in the car that can answer questions about the car. You can take it for a drive, and it's not a sales pressure. Our research from last year's show said that 34% of the people that attended the show added an additional car to their shopping list to consider that they hadn't thought of before they walked in the door.
Excellent. All right, we're going to take a quick break. And we want to come back and talk a little bit more about the Portland Auto Show, and there's a new display we're going to hear all about. So I'm with Greg Remensberger and Jeff Fishback from the Portland Auto Show. We'll be back with more on Test Miles next. I'm Nick Miles.
Throw it in neutral and coast in with testmiles.com.
Well, welcome back to Test Miles, the last segment of our show, and we'd like to keep you informed. Just follow us at Test Miles on Twitter. Here is a fun fact that you can impress your friends with. The Paul and Auto Show got an award for putting the most people through turnstiles of any show at the Oregon Convention Center. That's quite a record, Jeff Fishback and Greg Rimmensberger, to have. Do you think you'll be able to maintain that this year through the Auto Show?
We're anticipating an increase this year over what we've done in the past. Again, there's a lot of pent-up demand. Our industry is cresting the wave as far as economic recovery. Car sales have been strong. There's a lot of interest still out there to buy. The manufacturers are offering an awful lot of incentives. So
Perfect. All right, let's talk about some of the things, Jeff, we can see this year. You have a new garage, don't you? Not personally, but...
Yes, we have a race garage happening for the first time at the show this year, and it really speaks to every race component out there and every race segment. So if you're into rally, you're into drift, you're into drag, you're into street, you're into Indy, circle track, whatever you're into, you will find it in that race garage.
Perfect. And then I've also heard rumors that our famous sports team, the Blazers, may have something to do with your show this year.
yeah, we're partnering with them to do a kids program on Sunday, which is Family Day, and they're going to bring in an actual basketball court that we're going to set up, and they're going to have their coaches working with kids 14 years and under to do a little camp 2 different times on Sunday. We'll have more information on our website as we develop the final aspects of how it'll unfold.
So potentially you could come to the Sunday show and actually see and maybe interact with a Blazer?
They'll have some of the Blazer alumni there. The players will actually be on the road, so they can't. Originally, when we were trying to book it, we were going to work it in to where they would have a couple of appearances, but they'll be playing out on the road.
Excellent. Well, I don't know if you knew this, but I was actually up to be a Blazer. It was the height thing. I was about 3 foot short.
But you had the ball handling skills, right?
Yeah, exactly. I could maybe 4 foot short. I'm not quite sure. I'm only 5'4", so I've been to several Blazers matches and actually stood by those guys, and that's terrifying. I mean, they're about double my size. Some of those guys. It's really quite terrifying.
Hey, Spud Webb made it in the NBA.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Spud was just a tiny bit taller than Nick, too.
Yeah, about 2 feet taller than me, probably. Too. Most of my friends are clear foot taller than I am. So, it's always. But somebody has to get the stuff out the bottom shelf underneath the stove. It's like not everybody can get their glasses off the top shelf. There's got to be some small guys out here too. And it's really good when it comes to wrestling too. The low center of gravity.
That's right.
Much better. All right. So Paul and Auto Show happens the 5th through the 8th of February at the Oregon Convention Center. Jeff, tickets are at?
Easy to find, PortlandAutoShow.com.
And you can buy the tickets there. Now, is there a benefit to buying tickets early?
There's definitely a benefit to buying tickets early. You don't have to worry about the crowds. You can buy them online. You actually can buy them at the box office as well. And then if you want to come in Thursday and Friday to about 3 p.m., we've got some discount coupons happening in the Oregonian as well.
All right, so you need to buy your Oregonian and do that. Another couple of things that you have going on there, you have something with Dub. Is it Dub Magazine?
It is Dub Magazine, and they have a new dimension to that component too. It's Dub Show Tour, and they're going to be coming in with vehicles that are only way I can describe them as over the top. You've seen those wheels and tires on the road, the 20-inch wheels and tires on those hot rods and the exotics like Bentley and Lambos. They'll be coming to the show with those vehicles. And
you'll be able to see those now, and they'll have information about what the wheels are and where they came from and all that sort of thing. Because I always see these cars, they're really beautiful cars with wheels, and I'm like, I'd love a set of wheels like that, but you need to find where they're made or who makes them or where they come from. So they have all that info too?
They will, and they've got a couple of exciting components. You'll have to see the Dub exhibit to experience those.
All right, so what's on your list of must-sees at this year's show? And I specifically mean cars.
Ooh, that's a tough one, without letting the cat out of the bag on some of those. But I think the one that I'm really looking forward to
No one's listening. You can
the Land Rover Discovery Sport. I'm really excited about that. The price point for that type of vehicle from Land Rover is really, really exciting. And Nissan's bringing the GTR.
Nice.
That's a fun production car as well.
You said we're going to have some Bentleys and some Rolls Royces. You're working on that?
Yes.
But you can't tell us which models.
I can't tell you which models, but you definitely want to come and check out the Ghost. I mean, did that slip? I guess it did.
Put it this way, if I invite you guys back again for some more radio time, you think you can sneak me a bit more information in?
Yes,
Absolutely.
we'll have several to share.
All right. We're looking forward to the Portland Auto Show. PortlandAutoShow.com is where you can find all the information about the show times, how to get there, where to park, transportation, also ticket prices, and when the show's open. Generally, it's open from 10 to 10, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Sunday, it closes at 7 p.m. So you want to you could probably buy a family pack of tickets and come the whole weekend. I know I'll be down there for a good portion of that. We'll be doing some live broadcasts. The rest of the station team will be down there and doing a whole bunch of stuff. If not, come and see me. Come and see some of the great cars that are on display for the whole time. And I've actually heard some sneak stuff. I heard that you might have a very high-end Kia coming as well. So,
Rumor has it, yes.
rumor has it as well. We're looking for that high-end Kia. You're listening to Test Miles on FM News 101. Don't forget, get your tickets to the Portland Auto Show early. I'm Nick Miles.
Favorite us, tweet us, friend us, love us, all at testmiles.com.